I'm going to be going over the Kreg router lift, how to install your router, how to get it working and set up. I've been using this for about a month. I'm very pleased with it, but when I was shopping for a router lift, I saw a lot of reviews on Amazon where people seem to be genuinely confused about how to get their router in there. I saw people saying that the router on the list was not fitting, so I just wanted to give a heads up of how to deal with this. When you receive the lift, this right here, this locking mechanism is locked. You have to use this to unlock it. I think a lot of people are missing this step. It comes locked. So the very first thing you have to do is unlock that. The second thing we're going to look at are each of these individual positions and these four clamping blocks. Each of these has a number on them, same on each side. They correspond to router diameters. If you go to page 4 on the manual, table 3 on the setup, you will see this list. These each correspond with a number here, as well as commonly listed routers. If yours is not listed, the diameter is here. You can either get that by measuring the radius and using the equation to go backwards, or just attempt to get the rough diameter with a ruler. And these all can be removed with an Allen wrench. They pop out. I have the Bosch 1617, so it goes in number 5. These move around however you wish. Move them all to the corresponding number. Insert them in. Tighten them down. Tighten them till the point where they move just a little bit. Just a little movement, but still quite tight. When you slip your router in there, you need it to be able to move these in case they're off center. Okay, so we've got this open. These are all in the right spot. We've used the chart. We are now going to install the router into the Kreg base. We're going to need the base, your given router, and I prefer 2x4s, but 2 objects to essentially lift this off enough so that when we stick the router in, the collet is not hitting on whatever is below. 2x4s fit well for the Bosch 1617. You may need something else. You may be able to use something shorter. I have not. Now, the first thing we want to make sure is that we want to unlock this. And we essentially want to bottom this out towards the top. We want this portion that moves all the way up, or as close to all the way up. There's no need to crank on it when it gets up there. Just get it as far up as you can without having to crank on it. We're going to lock that back in place. We're going to flip this over. Remember which side is the front. This is the front, so when we flip it over, it's going to go towards me. When we insert that into our router table, that's going to be facing where we stand, which is important regarding the power on and off switch. Now, make sure one more time that we have this loosened up. Loosen it up quite a ways. There's no need to have it super tight in there. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to place this with 2x4s or other objects on either side such that your router can go through. Kreg suggests having this ring in there. You can do it with or without a ring if you want. Any ring smaller than that and your collet likely won't be able to get through. So this is the minimum ring size if you want to use one. We've got these in the right spots. This is loosened up. Kreg suggests keeping the router 1/16 off of the plate. This is a PEC ruler. It's a 16th. You may find some other item that's a 16th. You can cut a strip of wood to that. Now, what I like to do is I like to place it across the bottom of this router. This will make sure that when I put this in there, it will not bottom out. I've got the power button. I'm going to face it towards me, but slightly off to the side, as this screw is right here, so we don't want it directly facing us. I'm going to slide this in gently. If you've opened it quite a bit, it will just fall down. I'm going to double check that we've got the power button off to the side. We're in there, these are in the right spots, and we're going to tighten this. Tighten this as much as you possibly can. I have mine unloosened quite a bit, so it will go for quite a ways. Depending upon your router size, this will either be closed or further. It will not close all the way unless you have a very small router, of course. All right, so now our router's in there. We've got the power button facing us. We're gonna turn it back over. And for installation, before we put this into the table, I'm gonna lift it back up. We're gonna unlock it. We're gonna crank this back down. I find it easier to put it in with this all the way down, or at least the collet below the table. All right, we're below, and we are going to lock it. And we will then take it over to the table and insert it in the table. I'm going to be inserting this into the Kreg benchtop router table. I'm an extremely big fan of this table. If you can afford a full-size router table, get the nicest one you can get. I didn't really have the money at the time or the space, so I went with this over the Bosch or the Rockler folding. I'm extremely happy. It's got some nice heft to it. It's incredibly solid. And one of my favorite things are these leveling keys in the corner here. You can buy these separately to attach to your own custom table if you wish. Now, mine are already done from previously, but what I suggest doing is lowering these threaded inserts such that when you place it in there, the whole thing is below the lip. You want the whole router plate below the lip, just a little bit. I find it's easier to raise it up than to go down and adjust. Take our lift, we're going to feed the cord through. Take one last chance here to make sure you've got this tightened. And we're going to slide this in there. I like to go back and I like to grab here and slide it down. It's a beautiful fit. I'm going to take each of these bolts, just finger tighten them in there if you still need to do your leveling. Now, if you still need to do the leveling, which I may cover in a future video, at this point I would go underneath and start raising the threaded inserts while keeping an eye at eye level across this or with a straight edge until you see some movement. Once you've got movement on one side, stop there, go around until you get movement everywhere. Then slowly raise or lower as needed to get it level. One thing I really appreciate about this lift is that it's aluminum. It's incredibly flat. It's significantly better than the phenolic inserts. Before, I used to use the phenolic insert with the Bosch base inserted onto it, and it would sink. The Bosch base had problems, so I finally ponied up for this one. We can now tighten these all the way down. And we'll finish tightening these all the way down. And that is the installation of the Kreg router lift. A few other things I love about this router table, well, about this router plate, is this raising and lowering mechanism. Simple lock, unlock. And this dial I find is incredibly interesting. So what I like to do is let's say I have a straight bit in there and I want to cut a dado. I have the bit in there and I raise it until I get just a touch of movement, go back down, boom, 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 and I lock it. This dial right here can be turned to 0 during the lock. Each full rotation is 1/16 of an inch, has gradients for a 64th, 32nd, 3/64, and then a 16th. And it allows for incredible repeatability and accuracy. You unlock it, let's say I want to go a 16th, boom, one rotation, back to 0, done. And if you want to work your way up to 3/8, that's just 6 turns. Each time, done. It's incredibly quick, it's incredibly stable, it's well made. I highly recommend it to anyone.